Good morning, everyone. We have been discussing about the approval process and flows, right? Yesterday we have seen history of the flows, like how the flows are evaluated. Initially, it was workflow rules, and workflow rules had some limitations. To overcome all these limitations, they came up with the concept of the process builders. Using process builders, we can perform the advanced actions, like we can submit for the approval, we can create the records, we can update the records. Using workflow rules, we can create only task record, no other object records we can create. But using process builder, you can create any object records. The same way, you can do the updates on the records also. Okay. Also, we can post the charter messages. These are the few extra advantages of the process builder. But still, process builder has some limitations that we can't achieve using process builders. So one of the limitation among them is like we cannot delete the records. Okay, we can't delete the records. And another thing it has is we cannot display our screens. Generally, when we use the screens, whenever there are some error messages, right? If we want to display, for example, if this condition satisfies, okay, if any problem happened with this immediate action, I would like to display a message to the user saying that there is an unexpected error. Please reach out to your system administrator. Okay, that is not possible. I'm trying to create a record. Somehow it was failed. Then obviously user will get some kind of a message saying that some exception happened and it displays the exception message, but that is wrong, right? End users should not see the exception messages because they feel like bad user experience whenever they see the exception messages. Okay, instead of that, we should display a neat error message saying that there is a problem occurred and our system administrators are looking into it and we will reach out to you shortly. Like that, a good conveyed message generally we would like to display to the users, right? That is not possible using process builders. Okay, and the third thing, process builders we can invoke. There are three scenarios from the platform events are when the record changes. That means whenever you create a record or you edit a record, or we can call from the another process builder, right? So we can't invoke the process builders on click of buttons, or in the same way if we want to execute particular process builder on particular time, that is also not possible. Okay, so that is the third limitation. Third limitation is generally process builders we can invoke, I mean we can call, invoke in the sense of we can call when a record is created or edited, or another scenario is platform events, okay, or another process. We can call a record is created or edited, or platform events are created or edited, okay, or calling from another process builders, or we can call from another process builder, okay. But there's no way that we can call from a button. Okay. On click of button, if I want to execute some process, okay, that is not possible. On click of link, I want to execute some process. That is also not possible. And another thing is, we can't schedule the process builders. We can't call the process builders on a scheduled time. Okay, I have set up a process. Okay, I would like to execute a process in a particular point of time. Generally, these are the scenarios, right? Every morning, 1 a.m., I would like to check the cases. And in case of any spam cases, I would like to just delete those cases. That scenario is not possible with the process builders. Or leave about the delete scenario. Every morning, 1 a.m., I would like to see the cases and the cases which are created 30 days before. I would like to make them as old cases. Okay. That is field update. Updating some field on the case record, but that should happen on a particular time. Okay. That is also not possible because we can't schedule a complete process builder. There is a scheduled actions, guys. That is something like that. Whenever you create a record or update a record, if you want to do some field updates on a particular time, yes, you can do it using scheduled actions. But these scheduled actions will get invoked when you are creating a record or updating the record. That means when you are doing some action, but without doing any action. If you want to schedule some process, that is not possible using the process builders. So these are the four main limitations of the process builder, guys. So Salesforce came up with the flows to overcome above limitation. Okay. Salesforce came up with flows to overcome above limitations. And it's very, very powerful tool. Okay. So when they came up with the flows concept, they have came up a different concepts. Like one is the schedule. So we should have. And obviously there are different types of flows they have implemented. There are different types of flows they have implemented to overcome all the automation requirements. Okay. And the common main used flows are the screen flows. Okay. Record triggered flows, auto launched flows, scheduled flows. Okay. And it has some other flows also, guys. But the most frequently common used flows are these types. Okay. If you don't know how to implement these flows, then you can't do any automation in Salesforce, guys. Okay. So you should have clear idea of when to use what type of flow. Okay. We have different types of flows, and when to use what type of flow is very, very important. Okay. Let me log into my org and I'll show you what are the different types of flows which are available. And I'll quickly, when you are looking at the types of flows itself, it will give you a clear explanation of when to use those flows. Okay. How to access flows? That is again the same question. So we access flows using same way, guys. Setup flows. Now you will be in a good position like that in Salesforce. Whatever the customization you want to do, whatever the configuration changes that you would like to do, It's always from the setup, and we just need to search for that customization feature. Okay. So under process builders, you have flows. Okay. Salesforce is very vast, guys. Okay. Under setup, you will be seeing lot of things. Okay. I'm just teaching you stuff which is related to the sales cloud, service cloud, marketing cloud, and automations. It has it's kind of ocean, guys, and we are learning a little bit. Okay, it has so many features. That's the reason. Whenever you, I mean, mainly our concentration is on three clouds: Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud. It has Analytics Cloud. It has some APIs, REST APIs, not only REST APIs, it has some API implementations, and it has some charter clouds, and then it has some identity cloud. I just given you a small, I just touched a small piece, guys. That's it. What is the use of identity user? And also it has the customer portals. Okay. Even all these things are also just 50% of the Salesforce. Okay. Nobody can learn complete 100% Salesforce, guys. Okay. Because this is a very, 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 very big tool. Okay. So whatever we are learning, so Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud are the common basics of this Salesforce. Okay. Without, I mean, every project is mainly on these three clouds only. Okay. Once they, I mean, if in case of very, very, very large projects, they will go with the other clouds. But normal basic 90% of the projects, they will use either Sales Cloud or Service Cloud or Marketing Cloud. Okay. Um, so I'm going to the flows. If you want to learn more, guys, there is a help thing, Flow Trigger Explorer. Okay. It says about like fast field updates, actions and related orders. So it's like these are the different things that we configure using flows. Okay. Is there any scheduled flows? Okay. So leave about this. We don't use this much. Okay. But basically we will always create the new flow. Okay. Whenever you are creating the new flow, um, so start from the scratch is something like that. You are building your flow by the scratch. Our Salesforce has provided some templates. Okay, in case of screen flow, like these are all, for example, your request is related to the approval process. You would like to build the flow. So you can just select basic approval process request and create. So that what happens is it gives you some some things. Okay, some steps, already connected steps, guys. But generally, no need of this because first of all, we have to understand each and everything. Okay, if you have around 7 years, 8 years of experience, that time you can just check for it. Okay, but for now, we no need to go to any templates because the templates is something like that. They use very advanced versions and advanced terminology that we can't understand in our basics purpose. Okay, so uh, basically, you always select new flow. Okay, and then start from scratch. Why I have shown you use a template, maybe in the interview questions, if I don't want to create the flow from the starting, what is the other option I have? So you can just say that there is another option, use a template. So that has already some pre-built flows for the different scenarios. But you can simply say, but I never use those templates because my requirements are not matching with those templates, you can say. So I always create the flow from the scratch. Okay. These are the recommended types of flows, guys. Okay. Screen flows, record triggered flows, scheduled triggered flows, platform event triggered flows, auto launched flows, record trigger orchestration. Okay. Record trigger orchestration. Apart from that, we have another flows also, guys. Auto launched flow, auto launched orchestration evaluation flow, individual object linking flow. Okay. But we don't use this many things, guys. Okay. Basically, these are the six things that we use highly. Okay. All my experience, we used these six things only. Okay, so if you are very good at learning and if you are very good at doing the things, so these things, uh, if you have good knowledge about at least four, okay, platform events and record triggered orchestration is also less scenarios, guys. If you are working with two Salesforce arcs and if you want to communicate between one Salesforce arc to another Salesforce arc, that is the time we use the platform events. Okay, and basically there are less scenarios only. I don't say there won't be any scenarios, but that is not the frequent use case. Frequent use cases are you will be having a single Salesforce instance and you will be implementing so many automation jobs to do that automations. So for that, basically we use the first four types of things. Okay. The screen flow, scheduled trigger flow, auto launched flow, and record trigger flow. So these are the auto launched flows. And the fourth one is the scheduled flows. Okay. And fifth one we have is the platform event flows. Okay. And the sixth one we have is record orchestration flow. Okay. Record trigger orchestration. Okay. So basically, if you are able to explain about these six flows, when to use, how to use with the above example scenarios, that is more than enough for the interviews, guys. Okay. You should be in a position to explain these flows along with the above examples that we discussed. Okay. So as part of our training, we are going to do those five examples using these flows. Okay. So what are the different flows that you have worked on? Okay. You just tell I have worked on these four types of flows and I have learning knowledge on the rest of the two flows. Never tell you these two things I have worked on it, guys. Okay. Because generally we don't use much those two things and I can show you, I mean record triggered orchestration I can show you. Okay. But real time is something like that. We don't get much things on these two things. Okay. So the first thing is the screen flows. What is the screen flows? So if you go ahead here, screen flows, it itself tells you guys, guides user through a business process that launched from Lightning pages, experience cloud sites, quick actions and more. Okay. So you can call a screen flow from your Lightning pages. Okay. Experience cloud sites. Experience cloud sites is something like that. You can create, I mean, the people, if they want to access some functionality, but they are not the Salesforce license users. Okay. So they are not the Salesforce license users. We create some sites, guys. This is something like the third party sites. Okay. They don't log into the Salesforce, but they have their own site and they will use those sites. So, and in Salesforce, we have community portal user license, right? Because that is cheaper license we have. If we see our company information, okay, you have only two Salesforce licenses, but you have five community customer community plus licenses. But customer community logins are five. Okay. Like compared to your normal Salesforce licenses, use Salesforce Classic currently. Okay. Let me switch back to Classic. So these are the two licenses, guys. Customer community login plus communities, and customer portal manager standards. Like these are the different licenses that we generally used for the Experience Cloud. Experience Cloud is nothing but the customer portal. We are just giving them a third party URL. So generally, we have a concept of sites. We call this as the community cloud experience, guys. Along with the sales, service, and marketing, this we call it as a community cloud. So basically, is something like that. We will just develop a site kind of thing. That means we can. I mean, they can't log in and see the setup, app launchers, overview, nothing like that. Okay. We just provide one URL for them. Okay. And then they can access that particular URL and they can see whatever the things that we displayed in that URL. Okay. It's just a website kind of thing that we are going to uh, do them. Okay. This we call it as a community customer portal user sites, guys. But generally, you can say for 3 years of experience, this is not required, guys. But if you are going to place 4 years, not 4 years, 4 years also sales, service, and marketing is fine. But whenever you are going to place 6 years of experience in Salesforce, that is the time you have to place this community cloud experience. So for the basic stuff, you can say, I don't have a working experience, but you can just read this. Okay, what is the sites? I don't have the working experience, but there is just something community cloud license is available, and using that there are, I mean, it is a cheaper license compared to the Salesforce. So using that, we can enable some Salesforce functionalities. We can create a website, and inside that website, we can enable some, for example, account creation, contact creation, opportunity creation. Some functionalities you can provide the access. Okay. And those users will have access to that particular site. Either you can make this as the public website, guys. Okay. You no need to provide login access restrictions, or else they can be restricted website. Okay, that depends on just simply at the time of creating the site. It's a configuration whether you want to enable the login or whether you want to make it as a public. Okay, that is this is the simple concept, guys. we have so much of customers, they would like to utilize some features of Salesforce. Then how can we do it is we use the sites concept because it has more licenses. We can't purchase Salesforce licenses for each and every one, right? That's the time we use this sites experience cloud. They call it as a customer community cloud also, guys. Community cloud and experience cloud both are same. In classic version, they call it as a community cloud. In lightning version, they call it as a experience builder. That's it. Okay. Uh, I'm not sure why I came to this. Actually, I was discussing. Okay, screen flows. Yeah. So whenever you are creating some site pages, if you would like to display some messages to the users, yes, you can utilize screen flows. And you have some buttons. From the buttons, you would like to display some, on click of the button, you would like to display some screen to take input from the users. That point of time also, you can use the screen flows. Screen flows are something like that. Whenever you would like to take some information from the user by displaying some screens, that is the way you use screen flows. Okay. So screen flows, generally we use the scenario whenever we want to take some information from the user, or we would like to display some information. User, we use screen flows. Okay. Basically, quick actions. So I have explained you guys what is quick actions. Quick actions are nothing but buttons. Okay. Or lightning pages. Okay. Or site experience cloud. Experience cloud pages. Nothing but sites. Okay. Salesforce sites. These are the three different places. So these are the three different examples. Basically, these are the three places users will have certain buttons. Okay. Whenever we click on the button or whenever there is some action happened, basically we can use the screen flows to display the information or to display the forms that require to take the information from the users. So the scenario is whenever we want to take the information from the user or whenever we want to display the information to the users, that is the case we use screen flows. That is whenever a user interaction is needed, we use screen flows. Okay. The second thing is record triggered flows. So simply whatever we have seen on the process builders, whatever we have seen on the workflow rules, whenever a record is created or edited. Okay. So the second thing is record triggered flows. If you click on just record triggered flows and create, okay, you have the option whenever a record is created, edited, or deleted. Okay, this is the advanced feature, guys. Deleted one is the advanced feature of flows. Previously, you don't have that option, right? Whenever the record is deleted, if you want to throw some error, okay, it's not possible. But now it's possible. Nobody can't delete the records. If any record is deleted, you can just tell them the error saying that you are not supposed to do it. You can have certain conditions. For example, apart from the system administrator, okay, we are going to check some conditions here. So this is not the entry criteria, won't be there. Okay, so we'll just write it in the future classes, but it is something like that. Any DML operation is happened on the record, like create, update, delete. we can to do some other actions. Okay. So I'm just selected the account as the one. Okay. So we can have the entry criteria. That means if you can just set up, depending if this condition satisfies, then only do the execution. Okay. That entry criteria we will do, and I'll explain about what is the fast field updates, what is the actions related to thing. But this is something whenever a record is created, if you want to perform some actions, like these are the different actions that we can perform using flows. Okay. I'll explain one by one action and explain each and everything, guys, within the flows. Okay. Today we will just learn about the definitions. Okay. So record triggered flows is something like that. Whenever you do some operation on record, you do DML operation on records. So that is nothing but create, edit, delete. Okay. Whenever you do DML operation on records, if we want to perform some automation actions, some automatic actions. Okay. So what is the record trigger flows? Whenever we do some DML operation, it's not button clicks or it's not just directly calling, guys. Okay. The major when these flows will call automatically is whenever you perform the DML operation on the record. That's the reason it is calling record triggered flows. Okay. And what type of DML operation? Whenever you create it or you edit it, you delete it, you can call the flow and you can perform some automatic actions. Okay. Auto launched flows. Auto launched flows is something like that. These flows you can call from, they will get auto launched. It's not something like that. You just need to, you're creating the flow, guys. And this flow, you can call it from some other flows. Okay. Auto launched flows mainly we use for the subflows purpose. So, mainly we use for subflows. So basically this is something like that from the, okay, there is a flow that you have created to create a contact record. Okay. So that is something you want to call on click of a button. Okay. So on click of the button, I want to call a flow. Okay. That will create a record. Okay. It's not something like that. When I'm trying to create a record, I don't want to perform some actions. I want to just create a record itself. Okay. So that means on click of button, I want to do some automatic action, guys. But it's not something like that. I don't want to take the information from the user. Okay. If I want to take the information from the user, obviously I'll go to the screen flow and I'll display the contact records fields like contact name, contact email, contact phone number and click on submit. That will create the flow. So in that case, that is screen flow because we are requiring inputs from the user. So in my case, I don't require any inputs from the user. Okay, I just want to create a default record, a default contact. There is a button. Automatically, I want to create a default contact. So obviously, what I'll do is I'll implement a flow. That scenario, I'll just implement a flow that does record creation. That will create a contact record. Okay. And this flow I can call from different actions. Okay, on click of the button I can call. So these are something like that. These are the flows which we can launch from different actions. Okay. From the record trigger flow also. For example, if any account record is created, you can call this flow. Okay. Create contact record. In such scenario also, you're going to write a record trigger flow on account. Why? Because whenever you create the account record, you need to create the contact. So obviously we have a flow that creates the contact record. So we will call auto launched flows from the record triggered flows. Okay. Or another scenario, on click of the button, then we will call auto launched flows from the pick actions. That's the reason we call it as a sub flows. So it is a sub action it will do. Okay. So the only difference between the record triggered flows and auto launched flows, guys, you will not see the entry criteria. That's it. Apart from that, rest of the actions are almost same. Okay. So auto launch flows launches when invoked by Apex. That means from the Apex class, if you want to call it, we can call it. Okay. These record trigger flows, we can't call it from the Apex class, guys. These flows will execute only in case if you perform create, edit, update operation. Sorry, create, edit, and delete operations. Okay. Screen flows is something like that we always use whenever we want to display a screen. But auto launched flows are something like that. You cannot call a record trigger flow from screen flow and the same way a screen flow from the record trigger flow. Okay. But auto launched flows are something like that. You can call from screen flows, you can call from record trigger flows, you can call from schedule trigger flows. Like this is the flow that you can invoke from any other flow types. Okay. So if I create here, see, this doesn't have any entry criterias. Okay. Here you can perform actions. Okay. And these actions you can call from anywhere else. That is auto launched flows. Okay, so just a definition of auto launched flows is auto launched flows mainly we use the sub flows. These are the flows without any entry criterias. These generally we use to set up. These generally we use to set up actions without any entry criteria. Okay. And these flows we can call from all other flow types like scheduled, screen flow, or record triggered flow, or scheduled flows. Okay. That is the auto triggered flows, guys. And the next thing is scheduled flows. So go to the flows, click on new flow and click on next. Try to click on scheduled triggered flow. Okay. Scheduled triggered flow is also same thing, guys. We are going to perform the same kind of actions, but a scheduled time. Okay. Okay. Here set schedule. Generally, for all other flows, what we are doing is we are just choosing an object. Either record triggered flow, we are just choosing an object. Okay. But scheduled triggered flow is something like that. First set schedule. Okay. In this point of time. So Feb 2nd. So you can select the time at what time. So Feb 2nd, 1 a.m. And frequency, you want this schedule you are doing to do only for once, daily or weekly. Okay. Once, daily or weekly. This is the one thing. So using scheduled flows, if I want to schedule any monthly jobs, that is not possible, guys. Okay. So this is your one of the important question. Did flows has any limitations? Okay. Already most of the things that we were able to achieve by flows, right? Then why we are going with the coding? That is the question. Okay. Flows has some limitations, guys. So whatever the limitations that flows have, and if you have the scenario that is not possible with the flows, that is the time we use the Apex. Apex is something like that with Salesforce, with Apex, you can do everything, guys. I haven't seen none of the scenario till now that is not possible with by writing the code in Apex. Okay. So generally, but most of the after implementation of the flows, the usage of the Apex got reduced a lot, I can say. Most of the like in case our project is really we are dealing with large amount of data and large amount of API calls. That is the time only we will use Apex. Apart from that, general normal use cases, flows are more than enough. No need of writing any code. Okay, but flows has limitations. One of the limitation is we cannot schedule a job monthly. Otherwise, I can say it's only allows schedule things daily, once daily or weekly. Once daily or weekly. If we want to schedule monthly or hourly, it's not possible. Okay. If I want to run a job for 30 minutes, not possible. Okay. I want to run a job monthly once, not possible with the flows. So this is biggest limitation of the flows. Okay. All our monthly jobs are hourly jobs. We can't schedule. We can schedule a flow which runs only once at that particular point of time. Or daily it will run at that point of time. Or weekly it will run at. So if my day has 24 hours, okay, I want to run the same job 24 times. Not possible with the flows. We have to go with the apex. Okay, this is one of the limitation we have in flows. Okay, then yeah, this is auto launched flows and this is record flows. Yeah, this is the screen scheduled flows. So as part of the scheduled flows, the actions are same, guys. Okay, if you see it here, the actions are same. Okay. We can perform the create, update, get records, delete records, and almost filters, collections, almost it the same thing. Okay. But it's something like that. This flow will execute at a particular scheduled time. Okay. And scheduled flows, the definition of the scheduled flows is executes in a executes at a scheduled time. Okay. Also, we can't call screen flows from scheduled flow, guys. Okay. Because scheduled flows executes at a point of time and there is no user interaction at that particular point of time. Okay. That's the reason you can't call scheduled flows. Okay. The same way you can't call screen flows from record triggered flows also, guys. Basically, you can't call screen flows from any of the other flows. Okay. Because all other flows are executed automatically, that point of time, screen flows is majorly needs user interaction. Okay. So instead of mentioning it here, let me mention in the screen flows itself, side pages. Okay. We can't call these screen flows. We can't call the screen flows from other flow types. Okay. From the screen flow, you can call the auto launched flows. Okay. So screen flows are something like that. You cannot call it from other flow types. And auto launched flows are something like that. You can call from any flow type. Okay. Because screen flows, why we cannot call it from other flows is screen flows are something they need user interaction. Okay. So all record trigger flows, scheduled flows, they will trigger automatically. Okay, when some action happened. Yeah, a record can be created in a multiple ways, right, guys? There will be a data loader they can do, or there will be an API call they will call from the other system that will create the record in the Salesforce. Okay, so there are multiple ways. It's not something like that. The person who opens the Salesforce and if they try to create something, that time there is a user interaction. But records creation will not happen always like that. So there are multiple ways. That's the reason we can't have screen flows. Screen flows obviously is something like that. Whenever the user is sitting in front of that application or page, and if he is doing something, that is the time we will use screen flows to take the information or to display the information to the users. Okay. So scheduled flows and the next thing is the platform event flows. I don't know where that went. Okay. Okay. Executes at a scheduled time. Platform events. So generally platform events we use to communicate between the two Salesforce arcs. Communicate between the two systems. Okay. So Salesforce and third party. Okay, that means other system. Any system might be SAP or it any system. Salesforce to whenever we want it may be the Salesforce to Salesforce also, guys. Okay. Platform events we will use Salesforce to Salesforce integration or Salesforce to other third party integrations. Also, we can use the platform events. That means if something happened on the third party, if you would like to hear Salesforce, okay, do some operations, that we use platform event flows. Okay, so that time we can call the platform event flows. So in your flows, if you click on new flow, okay, this is also exactly works like a record triggered flow, guys. The only difference is the records are going to, so we are going to choose a platform events. So right now these are the different events. So platform events is something like that. From the setup, you can create some platform we can develop the platform events. Okay. So in this platform event, we are just going to select the object name. So we are going to write some object here. Okay. So on this, whenever they are calling that object, simply it's simply creation of like our custom objects, guys. Okay, nothing else. And we can create some fields also. So this is the custom object, right? So, but the API name of the platform event is test E. Okay. Basically, our custom object we cannot access from the out of the Salesforce. Okay. Right. From other systems, we can't access our custom objects. Okay, but platform events are something like that we can access from the outside of the system, and you are going to create some fields. And whenever you create a record here, and from this record, whenever a record is created under this object, we can call our Salesforce objects. Okay, this is something like that a temporary object which is called from third party to this object and this object to Salesforce. That is nothing but a temporary platform that we use to perform operations between the Salesforce to third party and third party to Salesforce. Okay, this is the admin part, guys. This is something like that without writing REST API calls. REST API calls are something like that. That is coding, right? If you want to communicate between the two systems using admin technologies, platform event is the easiest thing. Okay. Platform event conversations. These are the different types of fields that you can create on the platform event. Okay, whenever a record is created here and we can call the things. But platform events has its own limitations, guys. That means you can perform certain number of calls only on the platform events. Okay, that's the reason and previously it was only Salesforce to Salesforce only. Platform events you can use only in between Salesforce to Salesforce, but recently they have enhanced that feature to Salesforce to any other third party also. But this is simply a bridge between two Salesforce and the other third party. Okay, so whenever a record is created under this platform event, if you want to call, for example, okay, so I'm going to search for that test event that I have created. So let me just refresh it. So platform events we can access from the other places. So basically, whenever any choose platform event, so I was just selecting the platform event which I just created. Okay. As soon as this is created, okay, whenever a platform event is triggered, that point of time, if you want to perform some actions, okay, I want to create an account record from another Salesforce, guys. I'll just simply create a record under this platform. So whenever a platform event is created, then obviously I can perform some actions here. Create record is the one. Here I can configure my object name and field values. Okay. So that as part of this action, it will create the records in Salesforce. Okay. So we are not directly creating the records. It is something like that. Using platform events from other systems, we can create the records. And whenever that call is happened, if you want to automate such kind of things, we use the platform event flows. Okay. Generally, platform events we use to communicate between the two systems, Salesforce and third party. Okay. And we use these flows to automate the actions in Salesforce. We use these type of flows to actions automate actions in Salesforce when platform event is created in Salesforce. Okay, whenever a platform event is created in Salesforce from third party system. Okay, that is the simple platform events, guys. Okay, some operation whenever we want to communicate Salesforce and third party system, platform events is the one. Okay, but platform events has its own limitations, guys. Because of those limitations, in case of large integrations, we always use the API calls, REST API. That is again a coding. Okay, this is the admin part. Platform events generally for the configurations, but REST APIs are something like that. We have to write the code. Okay. And the last one is the record trigger orchestration, guys. It's exactly behave like a record trigger flow. But we can configure different actions for different users. Okay. In record trigger flow is something like that. You can just check the entry criteria and then you can set up the actions. There is no way that you can control. For example, logged in user is this person. You can perform this set of actions. If logged in user is second user, perform this set of actions. That is not possible, right? But whereas in the record trigger flow, record triggered orchestration flow, that is possible. Okay. Okay. So here you are just selecting a record is created or updated or create updated and deleted. Sorry, deleted is not there, guys. Okay. But all other three conditions are there. For example, if I select account, a record is created. Okay. And you can select the entry criteria. Okay. Um, Let us assume none. There is no entry criteria. Okay. All the records. So here you have stage. Okay. Stage is something like that. So in this stage, 0 steps. So select when complete the stage. Specific requirements are met and evaluation returns true. That means step by step process, multi-level process for the multi-level users also. Okay, so it will take a little bit of time, guys. When I'm telling you the example, that time I'll explain you about the example also. But simply you remember record triggered orchestration is something like that. You can develop different stages of the stages and steps, and you can control them for the multi users. Okay, multi-level, multi users. Okay, that is nothing but the record triggered orchestration. Okay, launches when a record is created or updated. An orchestration let you create multi-step and multi-user process. Okay, that means you can create multiple steps and it can be that you can control for the multiple users. For example, user 1 execute these steps, user 2 execute these steps. That you can control using record trigger orchestration process. Okay. Very important, guys. You should be in a position to explain all the 6 points which I am written in today. At least if you can explain the same thing which I have written it here, that is also more than enough. Okay. and they will ask you some examples that you have used these flows. That is something we will see tomorrow. Already I have noted down 5 scenarios at the top, right? So those 5 scenarios are the examples of these type of flows. So for which scenario, what type of flow we will use, we will see in the Monday class. Okay. So any questions? Thank you everyone. Let me stop recording.